Morning, church. The Christian experience is an awesome experience. It's a privileged experience. It's what I give God thanks for every day. Back in last August, I started to feel real frustrated on my job. The pressures, the stress was cutting into my personal time, cutting into home life. I said, God, you know what? This is it. I've got to get out. I need something new. I need a fresh start. I need something that's going to be less than this. And what I thought was God setting something up for me, things started to fall in place. I applied to a place, and the hiring manager was somebody that I knew. There was about 4 or 5 other references there that I could use from the actual job. So me and Kanik sat back and said, you know what, God, thank you. You orchestrated this. We're just waiting to see it come to fruition. That was the end of August. September came and went. October came and went. November, and I'm not hearing anything. I haven't even gotten an interview from this place. And so I'm saying, somewhere in the process, I realized that God was trying to teach me something in my current position. I had a conversation with my sister on the train coming home one day, and she said, you know what? There may be something God has for you to learn right there where you are. And I realized what it was that the reason why there was frustration on the job, the reason why I couldn't get things the way I thought it was best to flow is because I wasn't speaking up. And the reason why I wasn't speaking up is because I was under the impression that the job held the keys to me paying my bills. That the job held the keys to putting food on my table. And when I got that, when I recognized that, I think was Thanksgiving. Pastor Russ allowed us all to go around and say what we're thankful for. And I said, I'm thankful to God that He's taught me that my sustenance, my lot in life is not sustained by any man. No man has the decision over me. And so I begin to speak boldly on the job. I begin to tell them that this is wrong and that's wrong and we shouldn't have things like this, and things began to change. And I remember having worship over at Mike and Lenore's house a couple weeks ago, and I said to them, you know what? I know you guys know I've been looking for a job, but God has worked things out to where I'm loving the job that I'm at. I didn't quite realize what was going on, but I found it in last quarter's lesson in one of December weeks. It talked about it had an excerpt from Charles Stanley's book, The Spirit-Filled Life. And in that excerpt, he said, the Holy Spirit doesn't speak as a suggestion. He doesn't speak because he wants to hear his own voice. And so sometimes he's quiet because we're so filled with our own agenda. Our mind is so taken up with our own stuff that we can't hear his voice even if he were to speak. And he calls that time of shifting into neutral. And what I didn't realize was that whole time God was keeping me on that job, he was shifting me into neutral so that he could speak and he could tell me where he wanted to go. 2 Thursdays before Christmas, I'm sitting at my desk. It was about 10 o'clock. I get a call from a lady in the HR department at the general conference. And she says to me, your resume was given to us by your cousin Ian, my cousin Ian had just recently gotten a job there. And he actually referred me for a different position back in November. But they said I was overqualified for that position. And they had another position that just came up, and they said, you're perfect for it. She said to me that the hiring manager is anxious to interview me. She told me right at the outset that the only barrier I see to getting you from where you are to an employee of the church would be salary. And so she said, I'm going to email you a specific range, which would be your starting salary would be somewhere in that range. As long as that range works for you, then we'll start the process. She emailed me that range. Would you believe the day before I had my review at T-Row, this is my current job, and they told me what my raise was gonna be for the next year. So I took my review, I put it down, and I took the email she sent me, and I put it down. And I saw that the lowest part of the range that she sent me was the exact number that I would be getting paid for 2008. When Donnell asked me to give the testimony last week, I think he even called me New Year's Day, I told him, Donnell, the testimony's not quite complete.
That's all right.
Donnell said, well, I guess God's got some work to do. I'm happy to announce that Thursday at around 11:30, they called me and made the official offer. I'll be starting at the General Conference on January 22nd of this month. But I just want to say one last thing. The testimony is not because I'm going to be making a little more money or that I'm going to be off every Friday at noon, which is great. The testimony is that when you shift into neutral and allow God's Holy Spirit to speak deep into your life, He will lead you and guide you in the ways and the paths of righteousness.